Now, Kenya's government appears headed for a showdown with the opposition after a presidential spokesman said Monday it will not replace the election board ahead of the new election ordered by the Supreme Court, now officially scheduled for October 17th, according to Twitter page of the Electoral Commission. On Friday, the court annulled President Uhuru Kenyatta's 1.4 million vote victory in the August 8th presidential election. The court said the Electoral Commission board had not followed proper procedures and ordered it to hold new elections within 60 days, but did not stipulate any personnel changes. Opposition leader Raila Odinga welcomed the court's judgment, but called for senior officials at the election board to resign and face possible prosecution. Both Odinga and Kenyatta had reaction to this latest election twist.
It is now also clear that the CEO, Ezra Chiloba, Directors Immaculate Kasait, Commissioner in charge of ICT, Professor Abdi Yakub Guliye, Head of Legal Affairs, Praxidis Tororei, Mrs. Betty Nyabuto of Operations, and John Muhati of IT were co-conspirators with these criminals. They must face criminal prosecution.
If you have accepted all the rest of the results, let us accept the ruling. Maraga, don't interfere. And don't think that because our friends shout and we keep quiet, that we are scared of you. No, we are not. We are not. You've done your ruling, we have respected it. Let IEBC do their job. Let them declare the date. And Raila, let us meet at the ballot.
Now, a spokesman for both Kenyatta and the election board rejected the idea of changing the entire board. Some Kenyans celebrated the ruling, saying it reduced the potential for a repeat of the kind of violence that followed a disputed 2007 presidential election, in which more than 1,200 people were killed. Now, for more perspective on Kenya's challenging political situation, I am joined by James Gundi, adjunct professor at Georgetown University and a native of Kenya. Professor, welcome again to Africa 54.
Thank you, Esther.
Now, a very heated war of words between Raila Odinga and President Kenyatta. And just after the announcement of the Supreme Court, what do you expect to see in the coming days of the campaigns?
A bare knuckles fight. I think we are going to see an ugly fight. We already have started seeing the rhetoric, but I think the important thing is we need to separate the rhetoric, which is political. We expect politicians to make noise, and what is consequential. And I think what is consequential is to have these two leaders demonstrate leadership, because what they say is going to make a huge difference. So hopefully they are going to fight, as politicians do, but let it be a war of words. Hopefully at the end of the day, they will both be able to present their positions in terms of policy, in terms of what they want to do should they be declared winner in the next round.
Now, this war of words looks very emotional as well. It's very, they are so serious about each other. They look like they're so angry with each other. But the big question is, who is going to oversee the runoff elections? Given that Odinga is asking for the senior officials of IEBC to be prosecuted, and Kenyatta says, no, the IEBC will stay on and oversee the October 17th election.
I think what we are seeing is both sides trying to extract as much concession before the election as possible. So Raila, of course, would want to push for a complete disbandment of the Electoral Commission. I also believe he knows that is possibly not going to happen, but he has to start on a high mark if he's going to get some concession. I think at the end of the day, we all would agree that if an overseer did not perform well, there is reason to make some changes. The question is, do we need a total disbandment of the IEBC, or should we allow some changes that the chairman says he's going to effect.
Mr. Gundi, Kenyatta has also made a very tough reference to the Supreme Court Justice, you know, Justice Maraga. And I'm wondering, what's your reaction to that?
I think it's not helpful. I think the president stands for more than just being the presidential candidate of the Jubilee coalition. The president is the unifying factor in the country. He's a symbol of unity in the country. He also embodies the rule of law. And I think the problem is when Kenyans start to see the decision by the Supreme Court as a victory for Raila and a loss for Uhuru Kenyatta, we miss the point. If we looked at it as victory for democracy and the rule of law, then we would be celebrating and saying, let's now go to the next stage, because we have laws that govern such decisions. And once the decisions have been made, what follows? If we took that frame of mind, we would not be seeing the kind of, you know, rhetoric where the president is insulting members of the court. That does not unify the country.
Now, very briefly, who should be voting this time around? Can there be new registered voters or only those who were registered before?
I mean, I think at this point it's a little bit too late to start voter registration. The Kenyan way of registering voters is not, you know, is not very advanced to the point where anyone who turns 18 today gets a voter card. So I would say, rather than, you know, throwing in a lot of other things that may complicate issues, we should just be happy with the voter registration as it is, or the register as it stands, and allow those who voted or those who could vote on August 8th be the people who still go back to the polling stations.
Mr. Gundi, thank you very much. James Gundi is an adjunct professor at Georgetown University here in Washington, D.C. and a native of Kenya.